Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam, everyone. As we all know, we are continuing our studies of the Bhaja Govindam verses, which Swami discoursed on during the 1973 summer course. Today we are picking up the 14th verse which Swami had spoken on. The order in which we are studying this is the order in which Swami had discoursed on this. So we'll continue. Sai. Kamam, Rodham, Lobham, Moham, Tyaktvatmanam, Bhavaya, Koham, Atmajnana Vihina, Mudha, Te Pachyante, Naraka Niguda. Kamam, Krodham, Lobham, Moham, Tyaktvatmanam, Bhavaya, Koham, Atmajnana Vihina, Mudha, Te Pachyante, Naraka Niguda. Kamam, Krodham, Lobham, Moham, Tyaktvatmanam, Bhavaya, Koham, Atmajnana Vihinam, Mudha, Te Pachyante, Naraka Niguda. Okay, so in terms of pronunciation, let's look at letters which we have to pay attention. In the first line, Kamam, Krodham, this dha is the fourth letter in the third varga or third class of consonants. It has to be aspirated with some extra air and stress. Krodha, Krodham. The next word, Lobham, also the bha is the fourth letter in the per varga or per class of consonants, which has to be aspirated. Lobham, that moham is rather simple. Tyaktvatmanam, no aspirated consonants. The next word is bhavaya. This bha is again just the way the lobham, the bha is the fourth letter in the per varga or per class of consonants, so it has to be aspirated. Bhavaya, koham. Koham, there are no consonants aspirated. The next line, Atma Jnana Vihina, no aspirated consonants. Mudha. This dha is the fourth letter in the ta varga. Ta varga or ta class of sounds. Ta class of sounds are ta, ta, da, dha. So the dha, the fourth letter, has to be aspirated. So it's mudha. Okay. And the last, another letter which I thought I will just point out, it's not an aspirated consonant. This jnana, it's a compound consonant made of ij and nya. Okay, so just pay attention. You know, sometimes people say ig and nya, but it should be ij
and nya. Ja and nya. So in English translation, will be seen ja and nya. Okay, so just atma jnana vihina mudha. The last line te pachyante naraka nigudaha. All the letters are simple except the last one. Da, again, just the way muda, it should be guda. Okay, a bit more aspirated and stressed. Okay, that's in terms of pronunciation. Now let's look at the split of the sandhis to look at individual words. Kamam, krodham, lobham, moham, all of them will remain the same. There are no changes due to sandhi or joining. In the next line, tyaktvatmanam, the first word, is made up of two words, tyaktva atmanam. Okay, tyaktva atmanam. The a sort of becomes, sometimes it's one avagraha which is mentioned, sometimes two avagrahas also mentioned, but basically the a is silent. We really don't have to even put this sign, but some people put it just to demonstrate that when you split the word, there are two, the word is atmanam. I've just put one avagraha just to show that there's an a which is present, but it should be tyaktvatmanam, because in Sanskrit a longer vowel and another longer vowel of the same kind will remain one longer vowel. That is a plus a will be a. That's the way Sanskrit works. But in some texts you may find this, so I have just put the avagraha. This is the S sign, which basically says there's a silent a. But it's not so silent because it's a only. The va which precedes is also a. But if you look at the next word, it is same as bhave, no change due to sandhi. The third word in the verse is koham. Koham is actually made up of two words, kaha and aham. Kaha plus aham, koham. The visarga becomes u, and that's u and plus a join and becomes koham. Last week we were talking about soham. I think about Hamsa Gayatri we spoke. In Swami, the discourse had mentioned Hamsa Gayatri, so I had spoken about it because when auntie asked the question, Kanagis auntie asked the question. There it was Saha plus Aham become Soham. Where Swami says our breathe in is Saha and while breathe out it's Aham. So that's how it becomes Soham. And that's the mantra which we are unconsciously actually chanting. So, but here the question is, we'll look at the meaning. Here the word is koham, kaha, aha. Let's look at the third line. The first word is actually a compound word called samasa in Sanskrit. Atma jnana vihina. Okay. There are no sandhi related changes, but the visarga becomes lopa or it gets dropped because of sandhi. So that's how you don't see the visarga here. But when you split it, the visarga will appear because visarga is the original. It's there in the original word before the sandhi. Okay, muda, it's a simple word. Te pachyante, naraka nikuda, there are no real sandhi related changes. But the last word, naraka nikuda, I have put a dash just to differentiate the word so that it's easy for us to understand. Also, when you are chanting, to know the meaning and chant, it's useful when you have that dash so that you can know what each word is. Okay. So now let's go to the word meaning. So the first word is kamam. I think everyone is familiar with the word kamam. Kamam generally will refer to desire as well as lust. Some people translate as lust, but desire also is a meaning for kamam. So I put both of them. It's one of the Arishad Vargas. Arishad Vargas are the 6 enemies, inner enemies of human being is kamam, or lust or desire. The next word is krodham. Krodham is anger. Second inner enemy in our mind is krodham. Lobham is miserliness, people not wanting to share what they have with others. Greed also is considered lobham, that's wanting more for oneself. Excessive desire is greed. Kamam generally grows into lobham. Okay, miserliness or greed. So that's third inner enemy of man. Out of the 6 inner enemies, these are the 3. The last word is moham in the first line. Moham. Moham is attachment, or it also delusion, when we don't know what is reality. Attachment causes that, so both become meanings which people use for moha. That's the 4th inner enemy of man. In the next line, we are going to the next line, tyaktva. Tyaktva means having given up. The tyaja is one word which you may come across, that means to give up. Okay. Tyaja means give it up. It's an instruction general. Tyaja durjana samsargam, Swami says. That's a give up bad company. So tyaktva means having given up. Having given up. Atmanam is the next word. Atmanam means self. Say the Atman is a simple noun. Atman, I think all of you know the word Atman, which can mean a couple of things. It can mean myself, or it can also refer to the Atman, which is the divine self, because both are no different. We have to identify our inner self to the Atman, which is the divine self. So Atmanam is the second noun form, second or Dvitiya Vibhakti, it's said in Sanskrit. That means there's a second noun form, which indicates that it's the word is used as an object. An object in a sentence, when the word is used as an object, Atman is used as an object, you use the word Atmanam. Okay, it's a second noun form. For example, if you say Ganesha, means Ganesha. Ganesham bhaje means sing to Ganesha or sing of Ganesha, whichever in English it's different. Ganesham bhaje. Okay, so in the same way, Atmanam is a second noun form of the word Atman. The next word is bhavaya. Bhavaya is an instruction, a word which instructs us to reflect. Bhavana means you contemplate or inquire. All these meanings is the word bhavaya. That means you contemplate on something. You take any object, even meditation is bhavana. So which is, it's not an analysis, but it is contemplation, reflect. Okay, reflect. So the instruction is, having given up these four, having given up kamam, krodham, lobham, moham, atmanam bhavaya. Atmanam bhavaya means contemplate on the Atman. Okay, contemplate on the Atman. Then the next word is koham. Kaha aham. Who am I? Aham means I. Kaha means who. So kaham means who am I? So our contemplation should be to find out who this I is. Atmanam bhavaya. Contemplate on the self. Contemplate on the I to find out who that I is. Self is nothing but I. Swami always says we are all born crying. A baby, when it's born, it cries. And Swami says, actually the baby is crying, asking the question, Koham, who am I? Suddenly I am born in this world, who am I? Koham. And he says, by the time we die, we should have the answer, which is Soham, which is I am Him. I am the Lord. I am divinity. So that the entire journey of life is marked by two words, which is, one is Koham, you are born with crying. When you die, you should say Soham. If that journey is complete, then our life is fulfilled. That's what Swami says in many discourses. So Shankara is saying, contemplate on the self to find out who am I. Then the third line comes, Atma Jnana Vihinaha. Atma means again the Atman, self. Jnana is the knowledge. Jnana is knowledge. Vihinaha means this is a plural noun. Okay. Vihinaha means a singular. Vihina means one. If you say Atma Jnana Vihinaha, means one, any person who is without. Vihina means without. Atma Jnana, without knowledge of Atman. But Atma Jnana Vihinaha is singular. Atma Jnana Vihinaha, the longer one, is plural. So I put the meaning as those without knowledge of Atman. All those who are without the knowledge of Atman are called Atma Jnana Vihinaha, which is bulk of the population of humanity. All of us we haven't got the knowledge of who we are. So again, we can say we can say that I am the real. We are nothing but divine, but that knowledge is not experiential. So until we know it experientially, we really don't have full knowledge. So Atma Jnana Vihinaha. Then the next word is Mudaha. Mudaha means ignorant, foolish. If you look at the first verse, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja, Mudha Mate. Okay. Swami says, from the stage of Mudha Mate, we should travel to a state where we know what our truth is. That is the purpose of Bhaja Govindam. So ignorance. So when we don't know who we are all ignorant. So that's why Mudaha. That's the third line. In the fourth line, Te means such people. Te, whoever does not know or does not have the knowledge of the self. It's a plural word. It's a pronoun, a plural pronoun of Saha, he. Saha means he, Te means they. Plural pronoun. The next word is Pachyante. Pachyante, I have put the meaning as broiled. It can mean multiple things. Pachyante also means ripening. Pachyati means, okay. To ripen also, it's Pach. But it also means cook. So to cook or heat, bake, all those meanings can be attributed to Pachanti. So I will use the word broil. They will be broiling. It's a simple present tense of the word. So they will broil. Okay, they are broiling. And the next word is Naraka Niguda. Naraka is hell. Niguda means who are concealed or hidden. There are multiple means because Gudaha comes from the word guh. Guha or guha means a cave. So when Naraka itself is like a guha or a cave. So deep in that cave, okay, whoever is staying is Naraka Nigudaha. Singular. Naraka Nigudaha means one who is hidden inside the cave of hell. Naraka Nigudaha means plural. Okay, just the way Jnana Vihinaha and Vihinaha. This is Nigudaha. Nigudaha means all those who are in hell, hidden in the cave of hell. This is an adjective. This word Naraka Nigudaha is an adjective of the word Te. Who are these Te? So Atmajnana Vihinaha become Naraka Nigudaha. See, Nigudaha, its the usage is such that in a cave there's no light. So you have to face anything which happens. But there you are pachyant, you are getting burnt or broiled. I say there are many stories of, I think people read who Garuda Puranam, they will say if you do some sins, you will be cooked in heated oil in the hell and so on. So it's suffering. Suffering is nothing but pachanti, to be cooked in hell. So that's what the verse is. It scares everyone that if we do not know who we are, in this world we will be suffering. Where are we suffering? We are suffering in our mind. Our mind itself become hell. Or people say head is our head. Whatever we think it can be head, some people say, but generally it's the mind in which we actually suffer. All suffering takes place in the mind, deep within us. And if we go into that mind, then we are in a cave of ignorance. That happens when we do not know who we are. So the solution is Atmanam Bhavaya. Contemplate on the self and find out the answer to the question, Kaha Aham, who am I? So this is the verse. We can now look at the discourse of Swami. We'll move on. Give up bad qualities like lust, anger, greed, and attachment. Ask yourself who you are. If you're so foolish as not to know who you are, you will have endless troubles in hell. Pavitratma Swarupas, or embodiments of pure Atma. 14 disciples of Shankara had given 14 different verses describing the nature of detachment. After that, Shankara himself gave the Dwadasha Manjari, or the set of 12 verses. Out of these 12 verses, this is an important verse and lays great emphasis on detachment. Lust stands out as a prominent leader of all the bad qualities. The other three, that is anger, greed, and attachment, follow this leader, and do things which are dictated by him. In fact, Kama, the god of lust, is responsible for our birth. And Kala, the god of time, is responsible for our death. Rama is responsible for our life and all the good therein. If by our conduct we can deserve the grace of Rama, Kama and Kala are not going to trouble us very much. Like fire covered by ash, like water covered by precipitate, like the eye covered by cataract, our wisdom lies dormant, covered by Kama. It is necessary for us to inquire into the source and nature of Kama. Till we are able to do so, we will not be able to distinguish between what is lasting and what is only temporary, what is right and what is wrong. Kama increases our attachments and thereby weakens our memory and intelligence. Once the intelligence becomes weak, we will become inhuman. Thus, Kama has the capacity to ruin our life. If we understand the nature of Kama well, it will go away from us in one moment. If we give a high place to it without understanding, then that will get the upper hand and will begin to dance on our heads. There is a small story for this. In one village, a marriage was to take place. The party of the bridegroom came to the village and was staying in a home. The party of the bride was staying in another house. In between both these parties, there was one individual who was demanding all kinds of comfort from both the parties. This individual used to go to the bridegroom's place and tell them that they were always coming late and causing a lot of problems to the bride's party. People belonging to the bridegroom's party thought that he was some respected elder from the side of the bride. Similarly, he went to the bride's house and told them that they were not respecting the bridegroom and members of his party and were not giving them all the respect that was due to them. This individual was enacting a drama. He was going to the bridegroom party and was behaving as if he was a respected elder from the bride's side. And he was also going to the bride's people and behaving as if he was a respected elder from the bridegroom's side. When this drama went too far, the two parties started investigating who this gentleman was and found that he belonged to neither side. At this time, the individual quickly disappeared without telling anyone. In the same manner, we have two parties of pravritti and nivritti. That is, that which deals with material world and that which deals with the spiritual world. Once you have these two, Kama enacts this particular drama going to one and the other and posing as a well-wisher. But once you make an inquiry and find out that the origin of this Kama, it will disappear even as the individual in our story disappeared. This disease of Kama cannot be cured by any medicine. It is not going to be suppressed by a change of place. The only way it can be cured is to earn God's grace. And therefore, if you want to suppress it, you have to deserve God's grace. In order that you may deserve such grace, the Gita says that the sadhaka should become a daksha. Daksha is the name for one who has learned all the possible branches of knowledge, such as pravritti, paravidya, nivritti, aparavidya, and so on. You might have heard the stories of Daksha contained in our Puranas. This Daksha of the Puranas had all female children. One of them is Sati Devi. The name Sati Devi stands for wisdom. Because this knowledge or wisdom is present with Daksha in the form of a daughter, Sati Devi, Ishvara sought Sati Devi for himself as his bride. In so choosing Sati Devi as his bride, Ishvara became related to Daksha. So if we want to get near God and establish a relationship with God, we have to seek and acquire wisdom. When you acquire wisdom, all other branches of knowledge will automatically come to you. But today, one is a sadhaka only in name. We are spending all our time in eating food. The sadhakas of today eat heavy food, sleep like Kumbhakarna, and become fat beyond all limits. This is the reason why Indian culture is being ridiculed to some extent. One who does not cause any hurt to others, one who does not trouble others, and one who does his own duty without depending on others can be recognized as a worthy individual. In this young age of yours, you should try to reach the divine and remain humble. You go to colleges for acquiring wisdom, education, but you forget why you have gone there. Students must spend their time in understanding the main purpose for which they want to get education. Many go to colleges and waste their time in pursuit of sensuous pleasures. At the time of their examination, they open their books for the first time. Prema Swarupas, students, you will not get this age of yours ever again in your life. You must realize its sanctity. Only then you will be able to acquire knowledge. You must try to grasp the essence of what you study. If your head is empty and receptive, one can fill it with some good things. But if your head is already filled with all kinds of ideas, how can we put anything further into it? The Bhagavad Gita states that if a large number of impure ideas enter your head, it cannot be rectified all of a sudden. They have to be got rid of slowly and steadily. Sometimes we feel that these bad ideas are so deeply rooted in us that it is very difficult to uproot them. You should have a firm determination to get rid of them. Ideas come to you slowly and over a period of time as a result of your own deeds. We should recognize which of them are under our control and which of them are beyond our control. Here is a story which illustrates how one should deal with a bad habit. One individual got into the habit of eating opium regularly. It was not possible for him to control this habit of eating opium. By taking the opium, he was always in a kind of coma and was in a weak state. While he was in this state, a saintly person visited his city. The opium eater went along with the crowd to have the darshan of this saintly person. The saint was offering advice and comfort to many who were given to bad habits. Along with them, the opium eater also sought the advice of the saint. On seeing the opium eater, the saint said that his health was deteriorating and that he should give up eating opium. At this, the opium addict said that it was not possible for him to give it up easily and requested the saint to give him some advice as to how this could be given up. The saint asked him how much opium he was used to taking every day and was shown a certain measure as the average quantity that was being taken every day. The saint got a piece of chalk equal to the measure of opium that was being taken every day and told him that he may continue eating opium but should not take more than the size of the chalk piece every day. The opium eater was quite happy. But he was also told that every day he should write Om 3 times on a blackboard with that chalk. In this manner, the chalk was reducing in size every day, and so the amount of opium which the person was eating was also reducing gradually. Ultimately, this habit was removed. In the same manner, today, one takes to smoking a few cigarettes each day, and this number increases to 10, 20, and ultimately he becomes a chain smoker. In the same manner, various bad qualities have been growing in some of you. Even after knowing that those are bad qualities and are harmful, if you do not make an attempt to decrease and give up those bad qualities, it is a sad state of affairs. What is the purpose of your education and knowledge if you do not give up a habit which you know is a bad habit? Therefore, no devotee should follow the path of ignorance and be called a mudha mati, but should follow the path of righteousness and be called a mukta madhi. We should have our attention fixed on knowledge and wisdom. It's also said that if you can get rid of your ego, you can understand Brahman. But then you have to ask yourself as to how ego can be got rid of. Today we think that what has come with a form is ahankara, ego. We also equate ahankara to arrogance. Ahankara is not always arrogance. It is present at all times and in all the three aspects, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. This ego has the capacity to take man into very crooked paths. It promotes selfishness and ultimately results in making man forget who he is. Ego also appears because of beauty, education, wealth, position, or caste. If you want to think of your beauty as the cause of your ego, you should know that beauty shines and disappears in a moment like a lightning. If you want to think of your wealth or your strength as the cause of your ego, these things are like mirages and they disappear in a moment. If we regard the ego as dependent on our position, one does not know when this position will rise or fall or even vanish altogether. The moment you lose your position, you become an ordinary person. So there's no point in having ego which depends on position or authority. If you want to feel important or arrogant because of your education, it is well known that true education consists of cultivating humility and removing the ego. True education does not bring arrogance. Education brings humility in its wake. And all educated people look at everyone else with humility and equal-mindedness. If we ask the question, who is a blind man in this world? We get the answer that he who knows everything and yet is not able to see things in the proper perspective is a blind man. If only we are able to give service and conduct ourselves with humility when we see elders, that will be referred to as true education. Without knowing the essence of education, do not go about saying that you are an educated person. Your beauty, your age, your strength, your wealth, and your position should not make you feel very proud. Because with advancing age, all these will vanish. In this context, what is the point in your feeling proud of this leather bag of body? Divyatma Swarupa's students. You go and join schools, colleges, and universities for the purpose of getting education. Do not think that the education which you should get is confined only to the colleges and schools. Education should be got from all the world over. It can be got from a workshop. It can be got from a farm. It can be got from a profession or trade. Even moving in the market can give you education. All aspects of life can impart education. You must regard the world itself as a big university. From the time you get up from your bed till the time you go to sleep again, you are using your education for earning a pittance, the pittance of a livelihood. If you cannot use your education to be near the feet of the Lord, what is the purpose of all this knowledge? You must have God in your heart and recognize all living beings as equal. You must make every effort to overcome the 4 obstacles, namely lust, anger, attachment, and greed. So long as these thieves are in your home, there is no certainty that you will get the treasured wisdom. But after driving away these thieves, you will get a bigger thief into your home, and that thief is God Himself. That is why He has been called Chitta Chora, or one who steals your heart. The story goes that on one occasion, Krishna walked by Suradas, holding his hand for some distance. Suradas asked him if he was Krishna, and Krishna then let go of his hand. Then Suradas exclaimed, "How can I know you and understand you? You are smaller than the smallest particle that one knows. You are larger than the largest thing that one can conceive of. You are mightier than the 84 lakhs of created species. You are the biggest thief among the big thieves. How can I understand you?" In recognition of the fact that God is the only one who can remove ego and ahankara from us, He has been called Madhu Sudana. This word is usually indicative of one who has conquered a demon by name Madhu. But Madhu also means something which is sweeter than honey for man. His ego is sweeter than honey. Therefore, in this context, one who can completely destroy this ego is called Madhu Sudana. Thus, our ego, which is very sweet, can only be removed by God, who is also very sweet. We must have faith in Him and give up our ego and move closer to God. If you do this, God Himself will see when you have to be respected, when you have to be given, and when. What you have to be given and when. The entire thing will be His responsibility, and all will rest on God Himself. Shankara's message is that you should remove these 4 thieves, which are in the form of bad qualities within you. So this is a summary from the discourse from the Summer Showers 1973. It's the 20th chapter. This week, the detailed transcription was not done, so I have just taken from the discourse summary, which is published. So I will pause here, stop here if there are any questions from what we read today. And if I have an answer, I will share. Saira.
Saira Mantala. When Swami's talking about the pravritti and nivritti being the man in the drama, I thought
Yes.
that Nivriti is more is like a. I'm not really understanding what's the how the story and the Pravritti and Nivriti are connected.
Okay, good. So this story, so this one guy is pretending to be from the bright side and goes and yells on the other side, other party, and gets all the respect, and they try to please him, and he goes back and forth. So Swami is equating that to karma. So you're asking, and I think the question is, see, this what it is. In the same manner, we have two parties, pravritti and nivritti. See, this desire is a thief. So what happens is, when something worldly we do, pravritti is what is worldly, externally focused activities is pravritti. Nivritti is internally focused activity, which is sadhana. Sometimes this thief of desire pretends that he is helping the process. But the thing is, you take the world, you want to succeed, you want to live in this world happily. So this thief called desire comes and makes you want more and more. He will want more money, more name, more fame, more power, all that. You want to be the best among everyone else. You want to prove your superiority. All this is because of this desire. Then what happens if this desire is not rooted? When we pursue nivritti marga, which is sadhana, there also this karma comes and plays havoc. Even in the spirituality also, we become very ambitious. We want to be more spiritual than anyone else. We want to do the biggest puja. We want to do the longest tapas. Desire can create havoc in both the places. Whether it's external world, in the worldly activities, as well as in the internal world, sadhana also. So Swami is saying, if we do not uproot this desire, karma, he can cause havoc even in the spiritual path also. So it has to be removed. How you can remove, Swami says, is inquiring what the identity of this karma is. Who is this fellow? So which is mind? Karma, mind itself takes the form of desire. So once we inquire, this mind vanishes. All thoughts will vanish, all desire will vanish. And that's how karma has to be banished through inquiry of who it is. And that's why Swami says aham is a sense of self. Ahankara means we give it a form. And then that can cause problem. And that's why Swami is talking about. Ahankara does not mean arrogance. It can just mean identifying with your limited self and having selfish thoughts. For I need this for me, or I need for things which are mine, or people who are mine. So all this stems from this thought of I, and that can cause lack of peace. It will rob us of peace, whether it's external world or internal world. So that's understanding. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, thank you so much.
So I guess everyone's fine. Then if all are fine, I think we can maybe shorter class today. We can close the session and meet next week with the next verse. Swami has very nicely explained everything that we should work on removing desire, which is the leader of the pack of four thieves. And Swami has also touched on mother, which is arrogance, which comes out of having everything. So Swami has told that we should get Rama, who will help us overcome karma. The more we get the grace of Rama, the solution of all these problems will vanish. So with that, I think we can close the session today with prayers, and we'll meet again next week with the next verse. Okay, Sai Ram, everyone. ॐ समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः साईराम गुरु